This is just like a friendly reminder that if you see stepmoms struggling with their stepkids, please educate yourself on reactive attachment disorder. I'll say it again. Educate yourself on reactive attachment disorder.
Hi Curslings, I'm back with a breaking story about the Resilient Jenkins. So we're doing this one quick and dirty, and if you hear a TV in the background, that's because little cursed eye is watching his evening cartoon. So let's get right down to brass tacks. I was just sent the 2022 petition that was made by Desiree, the bio mom of Andrew Jenkins' son and the oldest child of the 5 Resilient Jenkins children, D.
Boy, get it right. This is Hell's Kitchen. Come on, boy. Mix that shit. You got this.
Now, before I get into what I was just sent, I want to extend an apology to Desiree for becoming a little skeptical of her in recent weeks. So to Desiree, I just want to say that I am sincerely sorry for any doubts I might have had about you and the veracity of your situation. To be honest, with situations as messy as this one, it's hard to know who or what to trust. And after watching the situation with the biomom of the Doherty Dozen's kinship placement children, let's just say that this stuff is never clear-cut as you might think. Which is why having court documents to back things up has been so critical, especially when it comes to the Resilient Jenkins in particular. As back in 2022, Desiree petitioned for custody of her son. Now, I was aware of this petition, but not the reasons behind why it was denied. I didn't really know what had happened there. Well, that has changed because a source managed to get copies of Desiree's 2022 petition. Curslings, it is mortifying. According to Desiree, she was contacted by DHS, the Department of Human Services, Oregon's version of CPS, about her son. Writing in her declaration, DHS called me yesterday to let me know his dad's girlfriend gave him a black eye. I have a picture to prove it from child welfare. See attached Exhibit 1. She punched a child. This is a bombshell revelation. Now, unfortunately, according to the documents, Desiree was declined her petition for temporary custody because it was determined that the child is not in any immediate danger. However, throughout the documents, Desiree made it a point to stress that she believed her child was being abused. Writing in another field where she had checked a box about whether the parent in question should have access to the child, where she chose no. Writing in the provided space, D has a black eye from Drew's spouse. She has anger issues. I have a photo to prove it. In another field regarding relocation, would reiterate again, he got a black eye, girlfriend has anger issues, and is taking it out on my son. And in the next field, about whether or not Drew should have any knowledge of where she and the child are, Desiree wrote, I feel like D's going to be safe in my care without his dad knowing my information. Oof. Now, none of this is all that surprising to me because Stephanie made this TikTok about how she doesn't buy into gentle parenting back in 2022.
I'll be trolling this app looking for one of those like gentle parenting, like hippy-dippy kind of moms and stuff, families in general, that's actually working for them. Tell me, because when I work on Zen, when I work on like, okay guys, let's clean up, let's just try to keep it clean, all these things, no, because I'm not about to just leave it like this, like, that's fine. That's like 10 minutes of me not cleaning, not being up doing stuff. And I'm like exhausted. Like, I have to do this every freaking day. All day, multiple times a day. And I try to be calm about it, but it's like, bro, it ain't working. The only way that it works is when I'm like, you know what? I'm fucking done. You get up and clean. You get up and clean. Then all of a sudden, shit snaps into action.
In another TikTok from 2023, Stephanie also complained about gentle parenting, describing her parenting style as being more of a 90s style over the more modern version. By the way, there are multiple forms of parenting styles that don't involve abuse or just letting your children run around and do whatever they want. It's called reading a book.
I gotta ask all you gentle parenting experts, because I'm by no means, and I'm But I gotta ask, because when we was younger, when it was the 90s, if we argued the way my children argue with me, it was right up to the back of the face, back of the head, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I just let my kids have their voice, let them have their opinion. And it's starting to bite me in the arse, dude. Like, they just argue about every motherfucking thing. It's like, will you please go put some different pants on? Well, I don't want to. Well, it's going to be cold outside. Well, I don't really care if it's going to be cold outside. You're going to care when we're, well, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, I get it. Let them have their opinion. And then it's like, okay, you just do you. But I feel like that's going to raise some snotty-ass adults, bro. Like, does it just flip? Is there an age where they suddenly just flip and they're like, bro, I am being unreasonable. I am being ridiculous towards my parents. They've really been trying to be patient with me, and I'm just, like, not being nice. Or do they just, like, go on with that entitled little attitudes of, like, my parents never told me it was wrong. They let me have my opinion. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? You do know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I just wonder, with all these kids that we're like coddling and gentle parenting, it's just getting worse the older they get. So how the fuck is that going to help in adulthood? Tell me.
And who can forget this TikTok where Stephanie showed off how she wakes her kids up every single morning by blasting music, because that seems super constructive. Now, 1 month before Desiree filed for temporary custody of her son, Stephanie made this TikTok about how hard it can be for step-parents to take care of their stepchild.
I feel like, this doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to step-parents, and I just want to speak up about it, The thing is, with the good step-parents, parents who choose to be that person for that child, that's what it is. You're stepping in. You're stepping in as that person, that child's parent, because their biological parent decided that didn't matter to them. Being a part of their kid's life didn't matter to them. Why? I don't know. But you know what? That doesn't matter, because the step-parent steps in. Of course it matters, but my point here is that
where Stephanie was basically fishing for praise about being the parent who stepped up for the child.
That trauma that happens to the child because you decided you didn't want your biological child, that's on the step-parent to fix and put back together. It's crazy to me that that's not put into perspective. A step-parent willingly takes on every issue, every complication, and every behavioral complication with a child that is not biologically theirs. Same with the foster parent. And we choose to daily put up with that stuff,
while simultaneously complaining about how the biological parents get favored, they're the first one to be called over her, etc.
But I just think, especially when you're going into school situations, it's like people discredit the step-parent, and they don't want to, they call the biological parent of the couple, and it's like, hey, let's not forget, I stepped in. I'm making that choice to be a part of this kid's life and be as much a part of it as I possibly can. I'm choosing to be their mother. I'm choosing to be the person who takes that time to make doctor appointments, research therapists, research sports activities.
It's also clear from this TikTok that Stephanie was definitely having problems with Dee based about how she talked about him in this part.
I choose to do that because the biological parent walked away and said that was something they didn't want to do for them. And I'm going to continue to do it, no matter how insane I become. No matter how much the child pushes me, I'm here. And I'll continue to be here.
In other words, it seems like the Resilient Jenkins are exactly what we all feared. Because if Stephanie is willing to punch a child who was 6.5 years old at the time of this petition and gave him a black eye, who's to say what other forms of abuse, be it physical, emotional, or verbal, that those children are being subjected to on a daily basis?
This is just like a friendly reminder that if you see stepmoms struggling with their stepkids, please educate yourself on reactive attachment disorder.
I shudder to think about what it is truly like in that apartment when the cameras are no longer rolling. No wonder Stephanie got so upset when people started comparing her to Ruby Frankie a few days ago. Because it turns out that maybe she has a lot more in common with the incarcerated and disgraced family vlogger than we first thought. Anyway, that's it for me. I want to thank everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing, with a big, big thank you to my mods and members, as always. You guys are rad, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!